Hello everyone, welcome to the Wednesday Preview. James Broadhurst with you. Joining me is Hayden King. Hayden, we've got a really exciting month ahead of us leading up to the Perth Cup, and some of the racing this weekend is a little bit of an indication of what's ahead of us.
Yeah, for sure, James. Good day to you, sir. And yeah, I'm looking forward to it. We've got a few races we're going to preview. We've got those young dogs coming through who've got auspicious futures ahead. We've got an interesting race that we're going to look at, and then we're finally looking at the Puppy Classic. Before that, we're looking at the distance, and a couple of those dogs are progressive on the way up.
They certainly are, so plenty to look out for. A couple of feature races, as you mentioned. Let's kick off with the one down there on Friday night at Mandurah, the Mandurah Middle Distance Challenge. We only had the one heat last week, and before we have a look at the final, let's go back and have a look at that race. It was of course taken out by Couch Surfer, and from box 3 he got away to a decent jump and was able to put himself up there with the quick starting Clifton Cruise in the run to the first turn. As they came out of the corner, Couch Surfer positioned himself on the rail and he pushed up along the inside to take the lead.
Off the back, margin 2.5, trying to regain its composure. Clifton Cruise comes again. He's doing a good job of it too. It's a Dime runs up, tries to go through the middle into the straight. Couch Surfer in front. It's a Dime trying to flash. Couch Surfer holding on. Couch Surfer wins.
So no problems there for Couch Surfer, winning at his first look at the Mandurah track. The time 36.85. Let's have a look at the field now. As mentioned, we only had the one heat, pretty much the same field, except for Shining on Fire comes out. Couch Surfer has now won 5 straight, undefeated in 6 runs over 600 metres or longer. Now tell me, Hayden, what is going to be different from the heat, other than, of course, It's a Dime has the pole on this occasion instead of box 8, which is what he had last week?
Yeah, well, he is the most likely winner, let's face it. Couch Surfer, he won last week, so every chance he'll do it again. He's building that picket fence next to his name, and he's the one that they all have to try to get past. As you mentioned, It's a Dime comes in to box number 1, which really helps her cause because she is a dog who does like to get down to the rail, so that'll make her more competitive. One dog who I didn't mind the run of last week was Jump Into Action. Got into a little bit of a bumping duel there out of the straight the first time and was doing his best work late through the line. I wouldn't be surprised if he could run top 3 here. Clifton Cruise is another with early speed. West on Jillaby was beginning to find the line late, as that dog invariably does last week. And then Poppy Passion, Columbus Manelli's the dog with a little bit of a question mark over him. He was just fair in the run to the post, went across the line with Jump Into Action last week. We know he's a dog of high calibre, so he could easily bounce back.
Well, I was just going to say, hey, what is the deal, as Seinfeld would say, what is the deal with Columbus Manelli? I would have thought the 600 metre journey would have been tailor-made for this dog, but he hasn't really fired over this trip. Had more success over the 490. Just wondering why we haven't seen him do better over the longer trip.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe 490 just suits him better because he didn't really find the line there last week. He'll be fitter again this week, I suppose. It's going to be hard work from out there in box number 8, particularly for a dog that doesn't have a heap of early speed. He's going to get stuck out there early, so it's going to be a big task for him to win the race. But as I mentioned, he's a dog of high speed, and he's got a lot of potential behind him.
So where are you looking here? Are you flipping the coin? The dime, maybe? It's a Dime and Couch Surfer. You think it's between those two?
Yeah, I think Couch Surfer should win. He is going to be a deserving favourite in the race. It's a Dime. I think It's a Dime would have to beat Couch Surfer out to be a chance of beating him.
And both of these dogs looking ahead towards the Galaxy. You think they're Galaxy bound?
I guess so, yeah. I haven't looked at their programming, but I'm sure they're on the path toward the Galaxy. They are stayers, and our staying ranks are about as high as we see here at the moment, so I guess they are going to be the leading contenders from a WA front.
Alright, that is the Mandurah Middle Distance Challenge. We thought we'd also have a look at the next race down there at Mandurah on Friday night, and that is the Prime Honour Boards free-for-all over the 490 metre journey. Now, I thought this is interesting one to have a look at. We're seeing Panama Pepper out of box 1 returning to the track. This is the first race he's going to be having since he ran second to Crumble Manelli in that Birthday Cup.
Yeah. He ran a fair second behind Crumble Manelli. It was a good enough run, but by his lofty standards, it was just fair. He went 22.75 and he was beaten probably, 7-8 lengths there by Crumble Manelli on that occasion. Comes up with box number 1. He's had that absence again. The reality is, if he shows his best, he'll blow them off the park. But we haven't seen that in a long time.
We haven't seen in a long time, and this is a pretty interesting field, isn't it?
Yeah, well, Mick Flash, he actually showed really good mid-race speed, and he won that race quite comfortably last start. Thirsty Friday's a dog who has that early speed through the first section and was able to see them all off last time, just kept giving in front. Gangnam Manelli got poleaxed coming up toward the home turn last time out. Getting back to 490, a distance we haven't seen him over for a little while, so I guess he could relish that change in trip. Hinto, we know what we're going to get. He just needs that bit of luck, but he'll be pounding home. Iconic Indy will be up there early, but she probably won't last the distance and keeping drawn on her outside. Could get a good bit of cover across early from Iconic Indy.
Okay, so I thought you were going to say a bit more there. Look, Iconic Indy, of course, having first start over this trip. Also, Hinto, a bit of an unknown fact there. I'm with you, though, Hayden. Panama Pepper, anywhere near his best, he certainly wins this one. Hey, Steve Withers is the trainer of Panama Pepper. He also has It's a Dime in the race we covered previously, the Mandurah Middle Distance Challenge. I contacted Steve for a comment on both of those dogs, and here's what he had to say. With regards to It's a Dime, he said that the dog had been racing well without winning in her past couple of starts. She gets a good box to put herself into a competitive position again in this race. And as far as Panama Pepper was concerned, Steve said that the dog had had a slower than anticipated comeback, but he had indicated that he's finally ready to get back to the 490 this weekend. And Steve also said he's looking to get Panama Pepper up to Cannington relatively soon, so he can start preparing that dog for a tilt at the Perth Cup. Speaking of the Perth Cup, Hayden, I suspect that Crumble Manelli might have a role to play in that series, and that dog goes around at headquarters on Saturday night in the Puppy Club. The Puppy Club? We haven't had the Puppy Club for about 15 years. The Puppy Classic Final. Let's have a look at that field, and Crumble Manelli comes up with the pole here. Of course, ran a PB last week. What was impressive, though, was the 5:39 first section, blew them away early. They did take a little bit of ground off him late stages there, but look, that was his first run over the 500 since November, so I expect him just to continue to improve as he goes over the 520. All three heat winners were front runners, but I think the one we're looking at here, Crumble Manelli, can you see him being upset here?
No, I don't think so.
That's it? Nothing more to say?
No. He should lead and win. That's the reality. He'll dig up early. If he produces that blinding first section, they won't see which way he went. He was absolutely flying through that first half of the race last week, and as you mentioned, first 500 in a while, and his first race in a while as well. So those factors combined, he should run even better this week, and he should just be way too far out in front for them to catch. West on Blossom, if she positions up behind Crumble Manelli, she could get a good drag. She'll be chasing a long way out. She'll be at it, trying to make that tow rope stay intact, but she ran a game enough second last week. My Time, he has qualified for the final, so he's going in that upward direction that I've promised that he would for a while, but again, it's just going to be a bit tough. Custom Manelli was really good last week. I guess if Crumble Manelli missed the start, then Custom Manelli's probably the threat, most likely winner. Dusty Deluxe continued that upward trend. I tipped him last week on the Wednesday, and he couldn't win on the Wednesday, but he qualifies for the Puppy Classic. He's just one of those dogs, though, just needs that little bit of luck, and he's getting going at the end of his races. Coco Shimmer in a similar boat. Copper's going okay. Tommy Fumble's the one who could challenge Crumble Manelli early. So I guess if there is any kind of threat, that it could be Tommy Fumble interfering with Crumble if he was just that half a beat slow.
Coming out of box 8 though. Hard for him to get across, do you think?
I think he'll be getting down to the inside.
Okay.
So I guess, again, just if Crumble Manelli is just that tick slow, then he could cause him some kind of trouble. But as we saw last week, Tommy Fumble, he was always going to win one of those races just when there was that bit of trouble in behind, and he got just enough last week, and he hung on grimly to see them off. It was a nervous watch though. The pack were closing.
Crumble Manelli 29.78. How much lower do you think he needs to go to be an elite dog, which we think that he might be?
I reckon he can. In time, I reckon he could go 29.40, 29.50.
Yep.
So that's probably where he needs to be competitive with the very top dogs if they're going to get some East Coast Raiders and stuff like that. But the real asset he has is that early speed. A lot of those dogs we see at the top line in Victoria, New South Wales, for example, they don't necessarily do it time after time where they can produce that electric first split. They are more versatile. What he's shown is he can reach top speed within a matter of moments. So if he comes out on roller skates, he could really light up the track through those first couple of sections. All
right, very exciting dog. We're looking forward to seeing him progress, and of course we've got to get through this final there on Saturday night, but we'll be starting as a red hot favourite, you'd suggest. Crumble Manelli in the Puppy Classic final at Cannington on Saturday night. Hey, some big news dropped earlier in the week. This was broken by our colleagues Leah Ernest and Peter O'Neill, the Greyhound Gossip team. Wow, she's fast. Looking likely to be heading over to Perth, not only for the Sandgroper, but before then for the Perth Cup Series. Here's what Cal Greeno, who is the husband of the trainer of Wow She's Fast, had to say on Greyhound Gossip.
So if you decided to go here, have you already, and I'm presuming that you probably have looked at this already, her mapping out a plan for her, and would that include a Perth Cup Carnival?
I would think it would, Pete. If we go, we'll probably be going for both. So Perth Cup is high on the agenda in my mind, and I'll have to run it through the owners with a discussion, but they generally just say do what you like. So it's never really an issue, but it's nice to hear their opinion of what they think.
So there you go, looking good for an appearance by the most exciting dog in Australia. Wow She's Fast, appearing at both the Perth Cup and the Sandgroper. Of course, the dog just won the Temlee last weekend, a dual Phoenix winner, so no stranger to the slot races. So looking forward to seeing that dog come over if indeed that eventuates. The Perth Cup Series, though, with or without Wow She's Fast, is going to be an absolute barnstorming affair. Hayden, coming up, it's close now. Heats on the 11th of March, and of course the big final, which includes the final of the Galaxy as well, on the 18th. Book those dates into your calendar. That's coming up very soon. Looking forward to it. Hey, closer than that is the racing we've got at headquarters tonight. Hayden, you got a best bet for us?
I do. Race 12, number 2, Global Bliss. Now, this dog was narrowly touched off by Soul's Glory last week. Soul's Glory draws inside of Global Bliss, but I think Global Bliss can lead. Soul's Glory, generally not the fastest dog away, does like to use a bit of the track, so we'll have to come off the heels if Global Bliss can lead. And I thought Global Bliss was very game in defeat last week, did not shirk the task when it looked like Soul's Glory was going to whip up and shoot away with the contest. But Global Bliss kept fighting, and there was only about a half neck or so in it at the line. So I think definitely at the price I'd be with Global Bliss. It's about $4.20 on Tab Touch at the moment, whereas Soul's Glory's in red odds. So I think Global Bliss is a bet in the last.
All right, okay. I'm heading towards race 10 at number 1, a Rockanui. Pretty handy dog. This one also pretty quick out of the traps. I think likely to be leading this one, and comes into a field that's maybe not quite as competitive as what he's been facing over the past couple of weeks. So really like a Rockanui to take out race 10. He's got box 1 tonight at Cannington. Hayden, that is all we've we've got for the show. Plenty coming up on the weekend. Hopefully we'll see you all down at the track. If not, we'll catch you next time on the preview.